Welcome to episode 83 of the WrestleChat podcast. I'm the AntMan, he's Michael Glavin, and we got a quick build to Backlash going down in St. Louis coming up on May 10th. That's here in just a couple of weeks. And that's why Randy Orton is a part of this whole thing with Cena. Sometimes I like these quick builds when you haven't had 6 months and they just haven't done anything and then do a quick build into something. When you've had time, I feel like that there should be something filled in there, and we had some storylines. This one, it makes sense. We have WrestleMania, Backlash. You have 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, whatever it is, to get things ready for this next PLE. And man, Randy, obviously the right one for Cena. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. But it feels like, we talk about WrestleMania being either the end of some storylines or the start of others. We definitely had some things finished off in that, and we all have our feelings on night one and night two and what have you. We got Cena and Orton going up at Backlash. Love that Randy's a part of that. Becky and Lyra just added this past Monday night. That's going to be a good one. A couple Irish ladies and a justifiable quick story with these two. You have Becky coming back, teaming with Lyra after a hurt Bayley can't perform. So you've got those two going in together. A couple Irish ladies winning the tag titles, but then losing them the following Monday, and then you find out that Becky is the one who attacked Bayley just so she could get those titles. And now we have a story here off and running that is worthy of an women's intercontinental title match at Backlash. Let's start with that one here. How you feeling about these two? And like I said, with such a quick build, Michael.
I know that speaking to Becky and Lyra, I know that I'm going to love the match, and I love the promo work. It unfortunately, because of how, again, quick build, you're going to hear a lot of that theme, in some of my responses. It was rushed, but it had to be. I mean, Becky comes back at Mania. You can't really build anything before that. It's going to be a good match, but to try and cram the story in like they're going to, I would have rather, this is me, I admit up front, this is me being a little more critical of the story deeper than what I normally go. If it was going to be that quick, I wish it would have just been Becky turning heel and being like, I want to be the only Irish, champion, whatever. Just something more simple instead of kind of this more drawn out reasoning that we've hit. It's just hard to do in a couple weeks, So, but again, I can't say enough. I think this is going to be a really fantastic match. Something to look forward to.
That one being the one that would actually benefit from having a little longer to tell that story. I agree with it.
Yeah. And Randy, John, they could have just announced it. They could have never had a meeting in the ring and we would have been fine.
Been completely fine. They already have a story. They have a long history. And to have that match be the one that pops up for this one. And also I feel in some ways it's predictable in the way that we know that Randy's not going to win the title. We're not going to end Cena's run right here, which means something else is going to happen. We're going to have some underhanded thing happen, I believe anyway. Obviously don't know that. But it makes me feel like, okay, since we already kind of have some foreshadowing of, listen, his final title run is not going to end 3 weeks after it started. So what else is going to happen? That's the part that we don't know and looking forward to, especially at this PLE. We also got on Monday, evidently we're going to have Sammy versus Seth, or maybe Sammy versus Braun, or maybe that doesn't factor into Backlash at all. They didn't really say much about that. It was more about Sammy being a part of this new group with Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins, and of course the wise man, Paul Heyman. Or if you don't want to be a part of this group, then you need to take a hike. You're going back to SmackDown. That one felt a little weird. I didn't hate the match, and I don't mind seeing Braun just completely demolish somebody, which, it was, if we had Suplex City, now we have Spear City with Braun. But you had some thoughts here on what Seth was blabbering about with, you have a choice, us or them.
I'm in the middle period that I'm not sure what to think about this.
Yeah, same.
I can tell you that they seem to be treating it with the same importance and spectacle that we did the Bloodline a couple years in. It is not that.
It's not the Bloodline at all, no.
You know, there were comparisons drawn to Evolution or Dangerous Alliance. There was purpose in those. And whatever this faction is, I think Seth Rollins is trying to hang his hat on this "I'm going to save WWE" thing. The problem is that kayfabe is the most dead that it's ever been. And so what are you trying to save? Then when you have simultaneously your director of the board going, it's all a work, it's all, you know, it's all fake. So we're doing this very weird suspend reality storyline in the midst of the most real the product has ever been. So if you're trying to save WWE, shouldn't you do that from a boardroom? Or shouldn't you buy a bunch of stock? Or shouldn't you, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, like what
imagine that being a
ring, you know?
Imagine that being a storyline. Hey, I just want to let you know, I just bought 100,000 shares of stock in TKO. So you know what? I get a say now.
I'm just saying, like, that right there.
It's where we are.
That right there would be the final night of Nitro. Shane McMahon going, I bought WCW. Right. You know, that would be today's version of that. So my entire point is, I don't hate Seth Rollins' work. I don't hate Braun's work. I love everything Paul Heyman does. It just doesn't make sense right now. And if the key phrase is right now, then that's fine. I'm being patient. I'm watching. I'm not even really complaining about it. I'm just saying it doesn't have a very tangible why. And that's kind of where I'm struggling, in that I think we're afraid I think we're always wanting to do something new, and we're afraid to draw comparisons. But like, what better way than to make it the new age evolution you know, something like that? Like, just let it be simple. The KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. But anyway, back to you.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think probably if we could put our finger on it, what is interesting about this and what maybe is unique and maybe even a little more uncomfortable with this is that we're used to Paul Heyman being the mic guy. And we don't have Paul Heyman as the mic guy in this group. So what is Paul Heyman in this group? If you got Seth Rollins out there running his mouth the whole time, why is Paul there? Paul is supposed to be there to put you over, to get, you know, to talk. What is it? The whole, you're trying to, I'm going to screw this up, but you're going to cash a check that your behind can't buy, whatever. He's the guy doing that, running his mouth. In this one, he's not. We talk about Dangerous Alliance and what have you. It's a 2.0 of that. Well, he was the mouthpiece for that whole thing. In fact, the whole group that he had pretty much at the time, just not good on the mic. And, you know, Paulie Dangerously was the reason he was there. So I wonder what Paul's actual involvement and reason of being a part of this group is, because right now it's not what it usually is. And that could be part of being uncomfortable anyway.
Yeah, at this point, the only thing I can think of is they just wanted to have somebody to be Braun's talker.
Could be that.
But he's not shown necessarily an innate weakness in that area anyway. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to wait and see. I want to be very clear. I'm not just grumbling about it. I'm just saying I don't understand it yet.
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, obviously the players involved. You know, we'll just have to wait and see. It makes it seem like they're positioning it for a lot of stuff over the next year. I don't know. Maybe they're anticipating that Rock's new movie, Smashing Machine, is going to do well. So then he won't be around for Mania next year.
Did you watch the trailer for it yet?
Yeah, it looks really good.
Me and my wife watched it, and she goes, "What do you think?" And I go, "It's great. He'll probably win a freaking Oscar for it."
Maybe.
I mean, it's like that good. Like, he's that good in this. And yeah, so that's a different story. But I thought, well, that's interesting. Here I am pissed off at The Rock and everything that's going on in WWE. And then I watched the trailer and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You're freaking good. You're so dang good. Rusev is back. It's now Rusev Day every day.
Rusev Machka.
Bless you.
That's the old one.
I didn't know. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I thought you had some allergies rolling on.
No.
He's back, but here's the deal. Where does he fit in the landscape of WWE? As okay, Rusev's back. So what? What does that mean? I mean, we all really love Rusev. Let's be honest, because Lana came out with him. But he seems to kind of be reviving this whole Redeemer storyline that was actually started in AEW. At least the promo that played on Monday, that's what it felt like. Do you see a place where he could just let's slide in Rusev here? Do you see one of those yet?
Yeah, I think he's automatic mid-card, IC champ, US champ. I mean, I think he can very quickly get into the fold. I think what I enjoyed seeing is I think his Miro character in AEW was always kind of his peak, in the sense of I think the Miro character is better than the Rusev character. I think if we treat 2025 Rusev like Miro, but then put that WWE machine behind it.
Sure. Yeah.
I think it's a total
you do something with it. Yeah.
Total winner. And so this
I felt maybe AEW, it was just promos. Like it was literal. I never saw him fight. It was all this Redeemers promos. And then every once in a while he'd come out. Like then I don't see him. I see promos for 3 weeks and never see Rusev or Miro.
Rusev, the great thing that happened about his last run in WWE is he was just a dominant force. And, I reference that Taker Triple H match all the time with that build to Mania. And Rusev kind of fits in that same kind of spot. I think he could pick a fight with anybody, and it's just good to start with because we've got the background on him that we know that he's somebody to reckon with. You know what I mean?
Well, and who we all want to see him pick a fight with. Mm-hmm. We got to see a Gunther match. I mean, geez Louise.
Yep.
Or one I forgot from that is coming up at Backlash on 10th in St. Louis is maybe one of the best. I mean, he's already up there at the top of one of the best promos already of 2025, but it can also be compared to many, many others as being one of the great promos is from Pat freaking McAfee standing up on the table, defending his buddy sitting next to him, the GOAT, Michael Cole, and saying, yeah, you know what? I'll take on Gunther. And let's do it. Let's have him bring him out here right now. No, better yet, let's do something at Backlash. And so we've got now Pat McAfee, the color commentary, Monday Night Raw on Netflix, actually taking on former world champion Gunther.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this match?
Pat McAfee's beloved. And he's just obviously he's a little more basic in the way he works a match, but it works for him so well. And every time I've seen him wrestle, I've always been impressed. And he's just so likable as a person. And you're just vested in it right away.
He's us that gets to sit on the ringside.
Yep.
Every single Monday. It's funny. I'm giggling about his show because on his show, he's talking on the Pat McAfee show the next day. So on Tuesday morning, he goes, I've already started training. I just walk and I do this. I'm just gonna get my chair. I'm gonna get it all. We're taking so what is I always say Singapore canes just because that's it was attitude era, right? But what are the kendo sticks? We got guys taking kendo sticks to my chest just to prep for Gunther.
Yep, you better.
yeah, absolutely. He's gonna be chopped to death. But if Pat preps that way and is good to go, this could be a fun match.
It will be fun. Yep, it'll be fun for sure.
All right, so I'm going to address the elephant. Everybody's talking about it. There's lots of rumors. There's lots of, all different directions. And you kind of alluded to something I want to bring up in this one too. But Rock and H, is this real beef? I mean, we've got instances of, let's go back to him being on Pat McAfee and talking about why he wasn't part of WrestleMania. And everybody called BS after he did. Like that, no. He said, I would have tailored a few things, calling out here's the date. He never uses his name. He never says his name. And sometimes that's the reason we feel that there's something between he and Paul Levesque, Triple H, is because he doesn't say his name. He talks, so he does that whole deal, calls out, we've got then Dave LaGreca from Busted Open coming on the next day. He was off, but he had to come on and say, that's BS, Rock. You not being at Mania, and your explanation was all just BS. And then you throw Triple H under the bus saying you would have tailored some of the buildup a little bit better and done it a little bit different that would have made it better than what we actually got. That feels like you're throwing him under the bus. And then you've got Rock actually replying on social media to Dave LaGreca saying everything we do is a work. Everything, every conversation, every promo, every interview, everything that we're doing is a work, which makes me think that even this post is part of the whole plan and a part of and fitting into whatever scheme they have. But it feels very real. And he says, why don't you come join me and Cody and Cena and the others? You left a lot of people out with the others. You didn't mention Triple H, the head of content creation for WWE, Bruce Pritchard, second in line. You don't mention any of those guys. You talk about the guys over their heads, but you don't talk about them who are actually in charge of this. Also, something you and I texted about today that you noticed was that Triple H didn't say a word about The Rock in his Hall of Fame speech, leading everybody to really dig in a little deeper and saying, oh, there's real beef between these two.
Dude shouted out his old workout buddies, his hairdresser, the guy that valet parked his car, everybody except The Rock.
You got to mention, didn't you?
I think I did.
Guy who's bought more T-shirts from me, Michael Glavin. Even him.
Here's the thing. I have no doubt that Rock's a nice guy. I have no real beef with The Rock at all. But the dude is in a space and has been for a long time that he gets his way. His gym goes with him wherever he goes. He has private chefs. He has earned the luxuries that he has. But you can't just pretend then that it doesn't affect the way that your outlook on life.
100%.
Okay. I think, offline too, we've talked about some of the power that The Rock has in the way he sways social media and his branding abilities and all this type of stuff. And then you take something that's so close to him, like professional wrestling, that he owes all of this to. He is going to have that same feeling that when he speaks up, people should listen, especially with this ceremonial seat on the board that he has, which either he bought for himself or he kissed enough behind to make happen. So all of this to say, I'm pointing out that anytime you hear The Rock talk, it's that he's in charge of creative. It's his idea, this, we should do that. We work together as a team, this. Nobody mentions him as part of the team. Nobody. Not Nick Khan, not Ari Emanuel,
just him.
Not Triple H, just Rock. And that's because he's not in the day-to-day. He can't be.
No.
And so then when we come to these moments like Elimination Chamber, they're getting in a room and Rock has to go, okay, bring me up to speed. Well, this. Okay, we're going to do this. Well, Rock, hold on. No. We're going to do this. And so that was the very long way around of me saying Rock is going to keep doing his Rock thing and everybody else is going to keep working around him. But he's already kind of frustrating all of us common folk because we can see right through the charade. And so I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
So you think it's real? You think it's real beef?
I think it's very real. I think it's very real. I think The Rock knows that he has the ability to insert himself. Think about it. Every interview, he drops Ari Emanuel's name. Mm-hmm. Every interview. Go back and look. I did. It's every interview. He is, whether consciously or unconsciously, continuing to place himself in the middle of day-to-day creative when all he was asked to do was to be a part of the WWE at a business level. And now we're dealing with this Vince McMahon 2.0 where we tear up the script 2 hours before the show, albeit it's only for one segment, the one that The Rock's going to be a part of. But he's just Vince McMahon 2.0 stepping in, messing a bunch of stuff up. We got to see where it goes.
What if it is all a work?
Then they did a great job.
I think part of me thinks that it is work. Stay with me on this train of thought here for a second.
Am I going to need a whiteboard for this?
Yeah, you definitely will need a whiteboard. Just use it in your head, though.
Okay.
It is for your whiteboard in your head. It's work 2.0.
Okay.
Where it's you can't do the same kayfabe that you could in the 80s. And I say the 80s because by the 90s.
I see where you're going with this.
So you can't do that. But you can come to an understanding from the very beginning. Whatever we do, there's a goal in mind, and this is the goal. Whatever that is, whatever that goal is. And I can't say what that is because I don't know it. Because I'm a fan and you're a fan.
Pretty much what you're saying, kayfabe is no longer that guy is an undead Undertaker.
Yep. Right.
Kayfabe is now drama.
Correct.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, it's just it's a 2.0. So what he said in his reply to it, just the beginning of the reply to Dave LaGreca was the only real thing out of I say real. You got to be careful with that word too, because what is real? Well, the real is that everything is a work. The end, period. Now, everything else I tell you that you perceive as real is a part of the work.
Yeah.
It's a new kayfabe or a new work 2.0.
Okay, but then my immediate response is, why is The Rock the only one using this new kayfabe?
See, I don't think he is. I think we got a little hint of that with Triple H, not mentioning him. It's a new see, back in the 70s and 80s, I'm going to get you. Next time I see you, you're going to get all 5 of these. You're going to get both thunder and lightning. You know, it's not that anymore. It's not that. It's right. This. It's social media on your phone. It's what you say and reading between the lines. And to be honest, I think probably part of the work is what we're doing right now. Somebody brings it. Dave LaGreca brings up something, and you go, "We could take a little piece of that for the end goal." Mm-hmm. Okay, well then reply to Dave. Okay, and it moves on. Who is the master, though? Who's the puppet master behind the scenes if the whole thing is a work? I'm
choosing to take the position that it's not a work.
It's Vince McMahon. It's the only part he's involved in anymore.
The whole time. Everything has been Vince the whole time.
No, and he's really the undead. Yeah, he'll be that guy. We'll find out that Vince passed away, but he really didn't pass away. So, didn't we already have that? Wasn't he in a limo when something like that happened?
I think so, yeah.
Hey, if you love Raw and you don't have Netflix, you've been borrowing your friend's account, this is your chance to get your own for an entire year. If you liked what we talked about today, you're invested, you have fun, you chime in on all this, do me a favor. Go open the free iHeartRadio app. If you don't have it, download it from your phone's app store. Get that first. It's free. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to pay anything. But then search for WrestleChat Podcast there. Type that in, and then go, when you see it, go hit like or follow. I think it's follow and preset. Preset is the one you really want. Follow and preset. Click both of those. It becomes part of your presets at the top of the iHeartRadio app. Take a screenshot of that, and then go to WrestleChatPodcast.com. Load up that screenshot. You'll be in the running to win Netflix for an entire year. If you didn't catch all of that right now, just go to WrestleChatPodcast.com, and it explains everything when you click on that banner right there in the middle.
So what you're saying is that you're going to gift 52 episodes of Monday Night Raw
52
to a
Raws.
lucky person.
Bingo. And we're going to do that right around SummerSlam. So you still have a little time between now and then before we give that away. So go check that out, WrestleChatPodcast.com, and load up your screenshot and listen to us every week. Watch us every week on YouTube. It'll be fun. Man, we're going to have a lot to talk about next week as hopefully a couple more matches get announced for Backlash. We'll give a full rundown and see what The Rock has to say about next week's show, if he wants to show up or doesn't. And maybe he'll have to ask Ari. I think Ari is going to call him if he really needs him, and tickets are slow. Probably need to call him and do that, and then we'll talk about that.
What a pretentious thing to say. Tickets were soft, so they called me.
needed The Rock.
It's walking into work and going, I know all you guys suck, but don't worry, I'm here now.
I have made it. I've showed up today. Yes. You got my donuts right. Yes. Thank you. Anything else we need to hit?
French toast, by the way.
Do what?
It's brioche French toast,
yes,
by the way.
True. I'm sorry. You're correct. Get that right. That's true. We don't want to mess that one up. Yeah. For cheat day, I'm sure. For The Rock. All right. That's going to do it for this week. I'm the Ant-Man. He's Michael Glavin. We'll see you next week on the WrestleChat podcast, if The Rock lets us.